I feel like almost everything that Xbox has been doing in these last few years has been in response to a lot of what the critics have been putting and posing their way. Now, there's a side to them actually responding to those things because, again, investors want to maybe see them make these changes. When analysts come out and say, well, Xbox is lacking in this area, they'll probably make some moves and then celebrate it and say, oh, yeah, look at this particular area where we're doing this and we're doing that. Now, I say this because most PlayStation fans, man, you guys will do some of the craziest things. You'll say some of the craziest things about Xbox, though, right? Xbox will respond to those things, and then you guys will come on the back end and say what Xbox is doing is still also bad, even when they're making changes to go ahead and mitigate the challenges that they face. And in this particular context, one of those things is that Game Pass cannibalizes sales of games, right? Even to the point where some so-called analysts were fudging numbers, like Chris Dring. He was like, well, every Xbox game can expect to lose about 80% of its sales, and that gets cannibalized because of Game Pass. And then he said that's a number that's being thrown around. Everybody runs with it. The whole news agencies, they're just talking, well, you see cannibalization of sales. So what does Xbox do? Xbox has a strategy in mind where cannibalization of sales is a foregone conclusion. Port your games to PC, port your games to PlayStation. Everyone is up in arms. They're porting their games to PlayStation. They're doing this because they failed in the console sales. Blah, 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 blah. They failed in the console sales in the Xbox One generation. Then they ported their games to PC even before they started Game Pass. Then they started Game Pass. Now they're moving their, games with Project Latitude. So again, wouldn't you say that this whole move to PlayStation is a factor to pretty much stop all cannibalization of sales of their games? So those who are playing the games on Game Pass, because many of them are probably not going to buy it, or maybe many of them choose not to buy it at the time, well, they're still going to be gaining those sales on PlayStation. And the cost of doing business is 30%, a 70% well earned. So again, what do you expect them to do? Keep the games on their own platform, exclusive and not sell so that their studios can get closed down like, studios we've seen lately? What should they do? Cancel Game Pass because it hurts your feelings? Because that's what I've noticed. A lot of folks on the PlayStation side that talk about Game Pass. When I look and I basically see your concerns, it's just you just don't like it because it's Xbox. It's not because Game Pass is not valuable. It's actually very good. So what should they do? What would you do if you were in their shoes? Just keep their games exclusive, but you PlayStation players swear that you hate the Xbox platform and you're not going to buy an Xbox for any reason. So I just basically am in a position, and I've always known this, I think Xbox has finally basically gone to the point where it's not really too concerned about what the old, the old guard would say about things. And so that's one of the reasons you see them going gung-ho. You see them going straight up. They're going in. Especially at a time where PlayStation is having many, many a misstep. From a PR perspective, there's just no way that can be spun to make it seem like, oh, they're doing something so bad. When your competitor comes out and says, we've canceled more live service games, right after they basically deleted one and closed multiple studios, you can pretty much do anything in the media, and everybody else that tries to call you will probably be called a hypocrite. That's pretty much, in my opinion, what you will probably be seeing right now. So the reality is right here, ladies and gentlemen, because again, nothing Xbox can do in the eyes of many of its biggest critics can ever be good. And even when they can actually see and piece the connection and say, well, this thing that we thought Xbox was making a mistake in, it seems like they're doing and taking steps to correct it. They only want it to be done in the way that they choose for it to be done, which is an unrealistic expectation that you can set. It just is very stupid. Why? Because PlayStation is literally, in some sense, following very similar paths in the way it's doing things. PlayStation games, their sales compared to Nintendo of their exclusives, mediocre. They're good, don't get me wrong, but better than Xbox, but mediocre compared to Nintendo. However, what are they doing here? They're basically mitigating it by going and putting their games on PC. It's just that simple. In fact, they started to put their games on Nintendo Switch. Nobody said anything. Day one. They put Lego Horizon Adventures on, the Nintendo Switch. Not a peep. Not a word. But Xbox is doing something like that, and Xbox is the end of them. They're positioning, people are making claims. They're positioning themselves to get out of hardware. Xbox is no longer concerned about hardware. They're now Sega because they did something that would mitigate the thing that y'all are criticizing them for. PlayStation, no one even had the guts to criticize them, and they did it, and no one even has the guts to even point it out. What a nasty mess when it comes to bias in the way both platforms are actually handled. It's just so weird, ladies and gentlemen, don't you think? Because there will always be the qualifiers. Well, it's not the same thing. Lego, nobody cares about Lego. Y'all don't care about Forza, and you guys are the first to yell about it. Even the Gamer2323, he called y'all out. He said, you guys are always making fun of Forza. Now you want to make it sound like, it's some kind of an important, game or whatever it is. Because I think the hypocrisy is out. The hypocrisy is out. Because I've seen some places where they'll say, well, until they start porting Spider-Man and God of War and this to Xbox, you guys said that in the days when Horizon first went to PC. Y'all said, they're not going to port these other games, and now they're all here on PC. If what you're waiting for is that, then keep wishing for it. It's going to happen. As the market gets saturated and the forces in the market that don't care about your exclusives more and more continue to become interesting, you're going to see some really cool stuff. We'll see, hopefully. We'll see how these changes actually go about. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. Chat with me in the comment section. Peace out.